Good evening, everyone. This is May 22nd, 2023, a meeting of the Southborough Planning Board. And the first item on the agenda is Planning Board organization. First, I'd like to welcome our new Planning Board member, Lisa Braccio. And
Thank you.
usually right after elections, the Planning Board re-elects a chair and a vice chair. So that's
I'd
what
like
this
to make a motion that we appoint Mimi Luttrell as chair of the Southborough Planning.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Luttrell abstain.
Stein, yes.
Demiria, yes.
Braccio, yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. And the vice chair, does anyone want to make a motion for a vice chair? I will make a motion for Mr. Stein to be the vice chair. If you would
Second.
accept that, Mr. Stein.
Oh.
I
That
have
was
a
a yes for the
motion.
record.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, Luttrell, yes.
Stein abstain.
Demiria, yes.
Braccio, yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Stein.
Very
Thank you
nice.
so much, fellow planning board members.
Mr. Vice Chair.
And the next item. I guess it doesn't matter. The next item on the agenda is 4042 Central Street. And oh, I forgot to mention at the beginning, Karina isn't here tonight. She had a family emergency, so I will try to muddle through the best I can. So so the initial hearing for this was on 4/24. An extension was requested by the applicant to 5/8. On 5/8, another extension was requested to 6/12. Since that time, Karina and I met with the town administrator and town council for a discussion item later on the agenda. But at that time, he committed to attend the 6/12 meeting to do the Dover workshop. And also he said he would attend for this hearing to offer us guidance in this hearing. But the applicant's attorney is unavailable on 6/12. So he asked if we could push it to 6/26. However, our town council's not available on 6/26. So he offered 6/27. So what are the board's thoughts on having a Zoom on 6/27 for just this agenda item that both the attorneys can be present at?
Would we be moving our whole agenda to the 27th? Or would we be meeting on the 26th and the 27th?
I think for right now, we would be meeting on the 26th and the 27th. Have to see, do we have anything on the agenda for the 26th, Colleen?
There'll be an A&R, possibly a special permit that she's looking at right now. I don't think it's going to make it to the 26th. But yeah, there's going to be some business.
So could we move the whole agenda to the 27th? We would have to do it by Zoom. I don't know if the hearing room would be available.
Yeah, that would be the night of the select board. Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't.
Is that the preference?
Just to have the
Um,
one meeting on Tuesday?
I'm okay with having one meeting on Tuesday. the
I'm
27th.
flexible. Yeah, that works for me too. One meeting sounds good.
Okay, and I know Marnie's available on the 27th.
I will get back to you. I'm gonna text Karina now just in case she knows something I don't. And I'll get
Okay.
back to you before the end of the meeting.
Okay,
What did Lisa say?
I'm fine with that as well, Justin. Thank you.
okay, so we have an extension request. Right now, we have it till 6/12. Let me see.
So am I, sorry, for the motion. The extension is to 6/12. What about is it a continuance of a public hearing to 6/12? Colleen?
Yes,
Yes,
And what about the decision date? When is that right now?
um, right now it's at June 3rd.
but
So we
6/12 would be what?
The M4, so 12/16.
Okay. So the first motion is to extend, well, doesn't the applicant request, I'm still going through my vice chair learning curve here. Doesn't the applicant request an extension for the decision deadline?
Yes, they did. I'm pulling, let me see. It's in the Dropbox. Oh, for crying.
Oh,
out loud.
sorry. I knew I was missing something. There we go.
I'm playing with one screen. Give me 1 second here.
Oh, one screen. How do you survive?
Oh, good. Yeah.
So, hey, Colleen, what email was that Dropbox in?
I don't know what you mean. What email?
I found it.
You see, the hearings continued to June 12th and the decision extended to June 16th.
Perfect. Thank you,
Make a
Lisa.
motion that we extend the decision deadline on 40-42 Central Street to June 16th, 2023.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, Latrell, yes?
Stein, yes?
Demiria, yes.
I believe I have to abstain, Mimi, because I've missed more than one meeting, correct?
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay, I abstain. Thank you.
okay. So we extended, just to make sure I don't mess anything up, the hearing date and the decision.
No, I haven't done that motion yet to extend the
Okay.
public, hearing,
Okay,
just the extension on the decision date. Now I make a motion to extend the public hearing to June 12th, 2023.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, Latrell, yes?
Stein, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Horacio abstain.
Okay,
Right.
so we'll need an additional extension from the applicant for on the 12th, by the 12th for the 27th.
Yes, he was willing to sign one today, but we wanted to see what everybody said.
Okay,
So, okay.
okay. The next item on the agenda is a minor site plan approval for 206 Turnpike Road. I see the applicant's representative, Dan, is here. Just to get us up to date, the original submission was on 3/3 for a 3/13 hearing. At the Fuss and O'Neill review was on 3/23, and the applicant requested a continuance to 4/24. Submission 2 was on 4/3, Fuss and O'Neill's review was on 4/19. The applicant requested continuance to 5/8. Submission number 3 was on 5/1. And the applicant requested a continuation until tonight. F&O comments were dated 5/19, although we received them this morning for submission 3. And Fuss and O'Neill said that the applicant has addressed all their comments and concerns.
So is that passing on to me?
Sure.
So I can start from scratch again, just to give some base information. I know there's a new member, so I can just go over the basics of the plan.
Dan, we're having a hard time hearing you. Could you speak up?
Yeah, sorry. Is it possible to share screen,
Sure.
just in case anyone needs to see the updates?
You should have it.
Okay. All right, so first off, I'm Dan Romero, by the way, an engineer from Hancock Associates in Marlboro. Here on behalf of CAC Auto Group LLC. As the chair said, we've had 2 letters come in from F&O with comments for revisions, which we've addressed, and the third came in to us this morning saying that we satisfied those comments. So, just to summarize the project, just so everyone's on the same page, the proposal for this minor site plan was to convert this section of building from office space to retail. And in doing that, we needed to address some of this unpermitted pavement that was there and add stormwater management. So that's why this stormwater infiltration system is being proposed, and we're also removing pavement within the 100-foot buffer zone. So some of the comments that F&O had that we addressed were adding markings to the compact spaces in this corner. We also added a row of chambers to add more storage for the 100-year storm. We revised the overflow of these chambers to be an area drain with a little bit more added riprap. And other changes were minor in regard to plans and notes, and other minor revisions to the stormwater report. So since then, we've also gotten an amended order of conditions from the Conservation Commission and a sign off from the Board of Health for this work. Yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at. If I didn't cover anything, need more explanation, let me know, and I'd like to open it up for questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Stein.
So this is, Colleen, this is not a public hearing, right?
Colleen, you're on mute.
That's correct. It's a minor
And there's
site plan.
no-
Exactly what I said. That's correct.
Right, there's no permits, there's no special permit, there's no lid. It's
No,
really just a vote to approve the minor site plan revision for 206 Turnpike Road. Is that right?
that's correct.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Murray?
Just a brief question. You mentioned, was it a revised order of conditions from Conservation Commission? I just wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, so there
Uh,
wasn't, yeah, there was an order of conditions initially to repave all of the driveway and the parking lot within the existing footprint. But when they went and repaved it, the previous owner paved more than was permitted and was already there, and some of that was in the buffer zone, so the amended order of conditions covers that additional pavement in the buffer zone. And also there's an extension to that order of conditions too, so.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thanks very much.
Ms. Brashio.
Thank you. Thank you for addressing the parking spots in the no disturb, 20-foot no disturb. That was one of the questions I had. I just have one other question for you, and I know it's not really part of the minor site plan, but have you updated any of the lighting within the lot, existing and new?
No, we haven't updated any of the lighting. We know there are soffit lights on the inside of the eave of the front, but we didn't look too into that, what the existing condition is for the lighting. And yeah, so we didn't look into that.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set, Mimi.
Okay, I just have one comment that I would like to be in the conditions on the existing trees. Most of them that are called out say protect and retain, but some of them don't. So I'd just like that to be made clear in the decision that all those trees that are called out as required per 174-13 are to remain.
So
And-
all of the trees that are on the plan, whether they're marked that way or not, should remain.
No, all the ones that are called out on the plan.
Okay,
Some of them say retain and protect, and some of them don't, but just to be clear.
Okay, like for instance, this 24-inch that doesn't have a note on it.
Well, that's within the 20-foot no touch, so I'm not particularly worried about that one, but over on the other side,
Over here
Let's
or
see.
back here?
now I can't see, so. There are a couple that say required per 174-13
Oh, yeah.
to E, but they don't. Oh, here's one on the bottom here. Oh, I keep trying to move your plan and I can't do
Oh,
that.
sorry, I can move it for you if you want. Where you want to go down here?
Yeah, so there's one down there by the 9 parking spaces that says existing required shade tree per 174-13.
Yeah.
E2 of the if that could say
So just to make sure. it's-
protect and remain, just to be absolutely clear, and there are a couple
Okay.
other ones. There's another one around that parking area too,
Okay,
just to be consistent and make sure. Does anyone else, I know Karina was gonna put together some standard conditions, or is there anything else that any other members would like to see on the conditions? Mr. Stein?
No, I have no other requirements. Would we be waiting then to vote until a subsequent meeting? Till we have all the conditions together?
I don't think so.
I
She wasn't working on anything today, but you know, the special condition we can certainly add in.
I think, Colleen, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we can close the hearing and vote
Yes,
today and,
There is no hearing. It's not a public hearing.
oh, that's right. I think that we can vote today and have the conditions for the next meeting, just so we can all go over them and approve them before they're,
Okay. Okay.
does that work?
Um,
Or should we wait? You have more experience than I do, Jesse.
so let's see. Mr. Romero, what's your thought? Would you be comfortable with us voting to approve the the plan in principle pending conditions? Or would you prefer to, that we just reschedule and have the same meeting again in effect?
I think approving with conditions would work great. My only question would be on submitting the plan. If we were to update the plans, as you said, and submit it, would there be another planning board meeting? After
Yeah,
that to update?
if you change the plans in any way,
Okay,
then we would have to revote on the change. So if you think that's possible, it might make more sense for us to just reconvene on this agenda item on the 22nd, excuse me. 12th. Rough day. So yeah, Dan, are you okay with that if we just reconvene on the 12th?
yeah, those plan changes are really easy to make, and I can get those over to you as quickly as you need them. So
That would be, Colleen, don't you think that's better? Or, I mean,
Yes, I
that way
think-
we're voting on the final plan and the conditions all on the 12th.
Yes, I think that would be Karina's recommendation. That way she can get the decision and you could do it all in one night and have it signed. If it needs to be signed.
yep, that
Okay.
works with me.
Very good.
All right, thank you.
So then we'll see you
Thank you.
on the 12th.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
all right. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Thank
Dan.
you.
Thank
too.
you, too.
The next item on the agenda is a discussion item, MBTA communities, input outreach path forward. Do you want to take this, Colleen, or do you want me to?
Yeah, so we had, Mimi and I mean, I had a discussion just Friday with one of the ladies from CHAPA, and there's some technical support that we weren't getting that we are going to be getting now, as in help with the meetings and materials, and we need to sort of start that. So there's an application that I filled out again today, and I'll be talking with Lily Link from CHAPA again, likely tomorrow, and we'll get that all started. But we need to start thinking of a date that we could work around for a public information center meeting session, I should say. So that's something to think about. Mimi, did you have any thoughts on that?
So what do you have to fill out another application for?
I'm not 100% sure, but when I met with Monica, there was some office hours on Friday, so I signed up, and she said to go ahead and fill out the application. I think it's the same one that I did before, but I think since they didn't put us in the cohorts right away, it's kind of refreshing our application. That's at least the way I feel. So, yeah, and then we'll have a one-on-one with Lily at some point to get this moving.
Yeah, because our hope is to get someone from CHAPA to come out and do this public outreach information session for us. And hopefully I have no idea when she'll be available. So it's hard to get dates to work around if we don't know what she's got going on.
Right, so I was kind of thinking if we could say maybe the first week or second week in August, whatever the planning board, I don't have my meeting schedule here, but that we could shoot for that first meeting in August to tentatively have a information center. I'm sorry, I keep saying center, session. In the meantime, we can work on getting the word out and in getting stakeholders, interested in coming and inviting people, all of that. It's going to be a lot of work. So I want to at least get started.
Can I offer a suggestion, Mimi?
Sure.
So if you're thinking about doing it August, I would suggest you actually do it in September, only because so many people are gone in the month of August that I don't think you're gonna reach the amount of people that may have an interest in this. So that's just something to consider, and I would just hate for somebody to say that the planning board did the first information center when people were gone. You know, the last few weeks of August, people try to cram in vacations before school starts. So that's just something to consider.
That's a
Yeah,
good point. Thank you.
I was hoping to be able to do them earlier, like throughout the summer and in September, because we're running out of time. Because for town meeting, we have to have warrant articles in by what, December or something? And we don't even have an idea of an overlay yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can have an open discussion and we can still do the outreach to the town through, you know, the most recent voters list. And we could just have a standing agenda item. We could start that way and then have, you know, kind of bring it up to this information center, and it actually session. It may actually work out well if we get a little bit of input. We can see where people have their concerns, and we can sort of focus on that.
Yeah, that's an idea. So maybe at each meeting, we can give a general description, and depending on if there are people in attendance to answer questions, and then do a more formal one, perhaps at the beginning of September, with maps and everything that people can circle with where they think the overlay should go.
I think that would work. I mean, I would still send out an invitation to any planning board meeting all summer that you could come and learn about this or ask questions leading up to a September meeting. You know, so we wouldn't just rely on the usuals that come. We could certainly invite other people that might be interested.
Any thoughts, Jesse?
So how does that work for a time frame to start the public hearings to be ready for Springtown meeting? Because we really have slight, you know, not a whole lot of margin for error. Because if it doesn't pass as Springtown meeting, we want to address things and quickly restart the public hearing process for a fall town meeting. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So does September work? I try, you know, off the top of my head, I would say probably.
I mean, so we can do the public hearings. So you guys in March, April. We could probably start them the 1st of January and get maybe 3-4 meetings in of just public hearing. But in the meantime, you know, we'll be doing this public outreach without anything formal other than the discussion.
We might want to do it twice in September, I would think.
Oh, I think from the first one, we'll roll it into something else.
Right.
It's just a matter of getting it started.
And the presence of, I'm sorry, what was the agency that sends a delegate?
CHAPA.
Thanks.
Yeah, they have the
I mean, I
material.
assume they don't just send people out whenever we ask multiple times. It's probably a one-shot thing, right?
No, I mean, they're ready to work with us. You know, whatever we need. I mean, their effort is to get this passed and have everybody in the MBTA communities compliant by the time that everybody is due. So, you know, there's no limit on what we can get from them, just their time.
Well, maybe we could request a preparation meeting with CHAPA in August for the public, what's the right word? Informational sessions.
Forum.
Information session.
Public forum. Thank you, Mimi.
Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't do that. When we're just talking about a meeting and it's not a public hearing, we could have a Zoom call, probably pretty easily.
Yeah.
As we get closer.
And do it in a public, I mean, do it in an open meeting.
Sure.
I mean, I wouldn't have any problem with people like questions.
No,
in our
I wouldn't
private
either.
meeting, But.
More
yeah.
questions, the better, actually.
Right.
Does Lily or someone have a PowerPoint that we can steal to use in our meetings coming up to our forum?
Yes, there's several different things that she's talked about. So she did send me one on Friday, but it wasn't really appropriate. It was more geared towards the affordable housing, which is really what they mainly do. So we can get something else. There's also ones from, the towns that have passed, Lexington, Arlington, I think it was. But yeah, we will not have to reinvent the wheel.
Any comment, Mr. Maria?
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions too, Mimi, whether they have slide decks, train the trainer, something like that, so we can start. I think it's going to be like kind of a slow roll, as Lisa said, over the summer, like even now with graduations and vacations. It's a tough week.
Starts.
June's going to be, I know that we identified June to start. So I think, we have to also get kind of comfortable with it. I think it would be very interesting to, see and work with some of the slides that other towns who've, Lexington, I know has been successful, and I don't know the other towns, but see what they've come up with if they're willing to share those or the CHAPA slides, and we can kind of sort through them and start to put together some informational deck and start, entertaining questions from the public. I think that'd be very nice in June. Yeah.
I know she has frequently asked questions too, which will be helpful.
So can we have that information by 6/12?
I think so.
Okay. Any other comment, Lisa?
All right, thank you, Mimi. I know planning board is really great about getting information out on the town website and sharing. And I think anything we can get out sooner. There is so much misinformation, out there about the MBTAs. And I know a lot of people are really concerned about it. And again, I think planning board's done a great job with the new website. If we would just continue to get out as much information as we can. And secondly, is there any intent to follow up in any way with some of the other towns that are affected by this as well? I know everybody's kind of moving forward with it, but I know there's been some chatter amongst some towns of, this impacts a lot of towns in this huge way. So I didn't know if the plan was to also try to continue and get in on some of those discussions with other towns as well.
Well, through the CHAPA grant, we
Okay.
just got put in a cohort with, it's not really anyone next to us.
It's more like us though. We have Dover and Harvard.
Sherburne,
Yep, Andover. So we'll be meeting with them. So Lisa, when you say get together with other towns, are you talking the thought of non-compliance?
Well, I just think to keep the door open all around Colleen, I'm not talking like a meeting or anything, but there has been some chatter amongst some towns that I've heard of already. So just kind of keep our ear to the ground just to make sure that, again, if what all of our options and our opportunities are, I think that we can present to the public. Again, it's just about options. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mimi.
anything else on this item? So we'll have presentation
materials.
frequently asked questions for 612.
Yes.
And maybe it's, maybe you may want to reach out, Colleen, to the planning department in like Hopkinton and Westboro, Ashland, see what their thoughts are.
You know, the last time we talked with Angela, when they talked about Hopkinton having an area that was close to our station.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? So, yeah, that'd be great. I can do that.
And just one other quick thing, Jesse, would you mind sharing with Shopsy that the meeting will be on 6/12 if they'd like to participate as well?
I do not mind.
Thank
Good
you.
suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks of everything, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Next item on the agenda. Zoning map update. In the Dropbox, there was the updated zoning map, which Karina had hoped to get any comments from the board on, and she will compile with her comments and send it back to the consultant. Any comment, Mr. Stein?
Can we come back to me, please?
Sure. Mr. Maria?
I mean, I thought it looked great. I noticed the 2006 date is still on it, so I don't know if that was just purposefully left, but hope it's gonna be 2023.
Well, right now, the map that we're creating is the 2006 approved map. So that's all there until we get the downtown district put in there. And then so that's going to be the map that we start with. And
Okay.
then we're going to look back. There may be some overlays that we missed along the lines, but we wanted to get the base map set. And the 2006 was the one we were working with.
Got it. Okay. Good. Thanks.
see
I actually
two
thought the
overlays.
downtown district was in there in red. Did I miss that?
In the new one, it is.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was not in the regular one.
right.
Which, okay.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Ms. Braccio?
Just one quick question, and again, it's on the downtown, and I could be completely wrong on this. Can we just verify the Boston Road piece? I didn't think it went down as far as it did. And again, I could be completely wrong, Colleen, and I probably should have pulled a map, but I didn't have time to do it before I left. So if we could just verify on the east side of Boston Road, because there's a lot of houses along there. So I just
Yep.
want to make sure that we have the correct boundaries for that. That's it. Thank you.
Yep, and there is a map that was approved at town meeting, so we'll look at that and we'll put that in the Dropbox for the next meeting too, so everybody will know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that is correct, because Karina and I were looking at that, Lisa, because I wanted to make sure that none of the split lots went into the new downtown district. So I think it looks good.
Thank you, Mimi.
There's two overlay districts that we might want to consider adding. The commercial solar district
I saw
and
that too.
the medical marijuana, which is a very small part of town on Route 9. The
Thank you.
solar is also pretty small. So I don't know if they need to be added, but
I think there
I
was
think
really
they
one.
should be.
I
Sorry?
think there's a telecommunications one as well. That's why we were saying we were going to go back through the town meetings and see what kind of overlays might have come in.
Yeah, the solar and the medical marijuana are the ones I'm aware of.
Okay.
So Colleen, are we getting the map updated with just the downtown district now and then go back phase 2 and make sure all the overlays are in, or are we trying to get everything done now?
So we were gonna put the downtown district, and that was going to be our base map because we're 100% sure that that's been approved from town meeting. And then, you know, I became aware that there was, like Jesse said, some overlays that I didn't know much about, but we were good. Karina said, let's get this started. And then
Okay.
we'll go back and we can do some research and get those put in afterwards.
All right, very good. Anything else on the map? Thank you. Thank you, Colleen.
Yep.
Okay. The next item. Planning board appointments and recommendations to committees. Do you want to take this one, Colleen?
Sure, I think I have, I'm going to share my screen. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so Karina and I talked about it today. She said it's nothing that needs to be done right now because we do have, most of these are 6:30, as you can see, that they expire. And these are just some of the ones that, the top ones are the planning board appointments. And the bottom down here are recommendations for the select board appointments. We do have an opening on Community Preservation Committee that Andrew was on. And then what else? I think that might be it.
Colleen, just for reference, the vacant seat on the Master Plan Implementation Committee, Sam Stivers is sitting on that from the Select Board.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love to make sure that Sam gets appointed to things.
Would he, Lisa, do you know if his appointment expires this June, or is that a recent appointment that
So,
is pushed out?
He would have
I
had it
think-
unexpired.
yeah, so I think he's filling, that was actually my seat, Jesse, and he is filling it and they all expire on 6:30. I think Mimi, didn't planning board accept my resignation and
Yeah.
appoint Sam? Okay,
We did.
okay.
Oh,
So I have one more. I was appointed by the select board to, as an appointee to MAPC.
MAPC.
Yes.
What is
Yeah.
that?
MAPC,
MAPC.
Massachusetts Planning Council.
Yes,
Massachusetts.
I have to admit, it's been hard to attend those meetings because they're during the day and they're often together with the Metro West Regional Collaborative, the meetings that I get invitations to, but I think I am the appointee to MAPC right now.
All righty.
Yeah.
I will go back through the letters and find out exactly how that goes, but this will be a recommendation to the planning board. Is that correct? Is that who appointed you, Debbie? I'm sorry.
I think it's
The
select
plan-
board.
Yeah, I guess the planning board made the recommendation and then the select board, right. It goes to select board for appointment.
Thank you.
so I wondered, should we start? Mimi, maybe voting on some of these appointments so we can knock some of them off. So I mean, we're making very good time tonight. What do you think?
Sure.
I mean, if everybody's okay with the select board appointments, we can certainly do that other than community preservation. Is anybody interested?
Well, what I was thinking, Colleen, is we can start extending. Like, for example, if somebody was to, you know, make a motion to like I don't know, what's the right word? Reappoint me, Latrell, Jesse Stein, and Freddie Gillespie to the deed research committee. Then we can push out those expiration dates.
Yeah, so Karina mentioned it to me right before we left, and she said, just for tonight, let's talk about it because we have not reached out to the other people to see if they did. But we could certainly, it'd probably be easier to vote at everything all at once. But if you wanted to do that, we could certainly do that. Outside of Freddie.
Maybe we'll just wait. Hey, Lisa, would you be willing to be our representative on CPC?
So I would certainly consider it. I'm just curious where Marnie's not here, whether she has an interest in doing that. Or if anybody else on planning board has an interest in doing that.
I actually spoke with Marnie about this and she does not have the time. I just talked to her about that recently.
Does anybody else on planning have an interest?
I think you'd be fabulous, Lisa.
The only reason I'm even asking is I had considered going back on capital. And if I'm on capital, I can only be on one other committee, which would be planning board. But I would certainly be interested in doing it. So.
Well, you can
will.
think about it until next meeting.
Perfect. How's that? And yes, I definitely have an interest, Jesse.
Great. You would be great.
Anything else on that, Colleen?
No, we're gonna send out the letters or emails, whichever is appropriate to all the others, and we'll be ready to finish this all up on the 12th.
Great.
The next item on the agenda, town council support to the planning board. As we all have noticed, we have not been getting acceptable support from town council. We've put in legal opinion requests that take 4 to 6 weeks before they're even acknowledged. There's been a reluctance, or I'll say reluctance to be nice, to attend any planning board hearings. And so I reached out to the select board chair and the town administrator to set up a meeting to discuss this because it's unacceptable. We're an elected board. We require legal counsel quite often. Many applicants come before us with attorneys, and oftentimes the abutters have attorneys, and the only ones who don't have the attorneys are the elected planning board who's representing the town. So we had a meeting last Wednesday that went very well, actually, and town council was also there. And he said he would fall on his sword and, committed to responding more timely and to attend meetings when asked, if given enough time. So he did commit at that time to attend the 12th and do the Dover workshop and they be present for the hearing for 40 to 42 Central Street, although that did not work out for the proponent's attorney. Also interesting in that conversation, he stated that he works for the town administrator and by extension, the select board. And which is why we received the kind of cagey response on the triangle. He felt he was in a difficult position in that instance. Which I find concerning. The planning board needs counsel and not the Select Board Defense Council, which I think that we've seen from time to time with the little r and the big R. So I was happy with the meeting. And then an additional wrinkle occurred. I got a call from the Select Board Chair telling me that she had directed Town Administrator to have Town Council speak to the attorney for 4042 Central Street directly. And I told her I thought that was a terrible idea. It's a site plan under the hearing process. If Town Council's going to speak to anybody, they should be directed by the Planning Board, who has the jurisdiction under site plan review. I had especially since Town Council fully admitted that he worked for the Select Board. So if Town Council is going to call their attorneys with the direction from Select Board to make this work or figure it out, I think that's very concerning. The Select Board has no jurisdiction under site plan.
Mimi, I
So
have
I-
a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
I don't
Let me
mean-
just finish.
Go
So I
ahead.
sent an email after I spoke to her, to both her and Town Administrator, stating how inappropriate this was and looking for assurance that A, Town Council would not be speaking to the proponent's attorney without the direction of the Planning Board. And B, that the Select Board would not be intervening in areas that are under the Planning Board's jurisdiction. And I received no response from that email. So that's where we are. Hopefully we can count on Town Council, but I don't know. Debbie?
Okay, so well, there's a lot in that. I don't know what to do about the wrinkle part of it, but the first part was, I thought that the Select Board chose the firm because it wasn't just a one-man shop, right? So I understand Jay Tellerman's busy and he feels allegiance to the Select Board and they have a lot going on. But I thought that we were able to rely on other members of that firm in case he personally was too busy. At least that is that. So why can't we get somebody else from his firm if he's too busy? Is the first question I have. I mean, I don't think he needs to fall on his sword. Maybe he's trying his best and whatever, but let's get somebody else from the firm.
So his response to that was that he's the lead counsel and he would prefer to be the one that handles everything in Southborough. But at this point, my personal feeling is I think we need somebody else assigned to us that we can count on.
Okay, well, I
And-
agree with you on that, especially I don't quite understand. I don't feel like one board is against another board. I think we have different purview and I am not sure what to make of, him saying that he reports to the town administrator because that's not consistent with what he's doing. Like he supports, for example, the zoning board of appeals. He helped them when they had something going on. I spoke with one of the members recently. He did a workshop for them. I can't recall what the topic was, but he did do a workshop. And also he recently reviewed their rules and regulations. And from what I heard from ZBA, he's available to them. And I believe the workshop was a Saturday workshop. And maybe it was on 40B. I don't really know. But I think it's also not acceptable what has happened recently that we've been unsupported. I do want to say We've heard from several attorneys that they have reached out directly to him. I think you might recall, I think it might have been Ferris Development. One attorney said, "Oh, I just talked to Mr. Tallerman on the ride up." I think Mr. Pizzoni for Ken's reached out directly. I think there's been a number of attorneys on the proponent side that have reached out directly. And so I think we would, it would be good to know if the town allows that or doesn't allow that, because I think it happens. I don't think it's just for Fayetteville Hall. I think it's happened with Ken's. I think it's happened with Ferris Development. I think it's happened with others. We've heard about that. They say, "Oh, I'll reach out to Jay." So if that's not acceptable, I think that when we hear that, we should say, "Don't do that."
Well, so it was 154, 156 Northborough Road. And I said to Karina, "Did you talk to town council?" And she said, "No." And I'm like, then, I don't care what he said to you. Doesn't make any
Right.
difference.
That's right.
Uh,
I'm
this
just
is a
gonna,
hit.
yeah, sorry.
But the difference here is that attorneys, they know each other and they have relationships. So sometimes that does happen.
Yeah,
But this was our select board chair, not at the direction of the select board, on her own, that directed town council to speak directly with the council from the proponent. Outside of a public meeting with nobody else. I know that the planning board had directed me to speak with town council and Pizzoni and with the town planner, and we had worked out some issues. It then brought it back to a public meeting. But a conversation between the two attorneys, we have no purview over. In the site plan is in the midst of a hearing process, and somehow this is doing an end run around the hearing process by a board that has no jurisdiction in this area.
So, Mimi, I agree with you. This has been an issue with the select board, and I think you were on the planning board when we had to seek special counsel on an agenda item, and totally different composition of select board, but they declined it. And there was really a lot of strained relationships and non-cooperation, and really a lot of hostility and non, basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it was not productive. It was highly unproductive between the zoning board of appeals, the planning board, and the select board. This was back on the Park Central hearings, and a lot of this stuff could have been avoided if there was maybe some proactive outreach beforehand. And but what I mean by that is we might want to consider requesting to get on the select board agenda to discuss this in a joint meeting with them in an open meeting, because the select board is not the planning board, and they may not know what the correct procedures are and what the jurisdiction is, and there's nothing wrong with that. They've got a lot of other stuff to do. So I think maybe we might want to extend an invitation or request a joint meeting so that we can explain our position, and with the intent to get everybody on the same page and keep the relationships healthy between the boards, so that we can all do our jobs in a productive manner.
That's a good idea, Jesse. Yeah, so back at the Park Central, it was kind of the same thing where our town council was representing the zoning board. So any legal advice we got was tilted towards that defense counsel for the zoning board, and we weren't getting, you know, adequate or sufficient
Agreed.
legal advice.
My recollection was town council would come to meetings periodically and just sort of say, in effect, they were representing the zoning board, and the planning board had no standing. And it didn't work because we knew that wasn't correct, or we thought it wasn't correct, and we didn't have a healthy enough dialogue to get on the same page with town council. So
Well,
I would
so
rather not go down that road again.
it turned out we were right, and because of what we said, it earned Southborough the dubious distinction of having the second comprehensive permit revoked in the state.
So, and that really could have all been done much more efficiently with much less consternation and a lot less expense to the town. That was
Yeah.
not the most cost-effective way from a budgeting standpoint and spending standpoint of handling our legal counsel and managing our legal counsel. So I don't know what kind of advice the select board is getting. That's, you know, where they're getting the idea that this is the right way to do things. And that's why a joint meeting would probably reconcile this, I would hope.
So Jesse, I'll just add to that, when we say the select board, I don't know that the select board as a whole even knows that there's a concern about this. So I think it's a great idea of what you're suggesting, to be able to sit down and have a conversation and keep the lines of communication open. But I'm not sure that anybody's aware of what Mimi just said is even taking place on the select board.
So are we all in agreement to request a joint meeting with the select board?
Yeah,
So we have Mr. Talman committed to and on our agenda for June 12th. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I wonder if, you know, it'd be great if we could schedule it for the same night so that he could be present and participate. I think maybe, I don't know if that's appropriate, maybe it isn't, but just a thought.
That's a good idea. I'll ask.
Thank you.
Anything else on this agenda item?
nothing for me.
Okay, so we all in agreement to request a joint meeting on 6/12 when town council is going to be in attendance at a planning board meeting? Yeah.
Good idea.
That'd be great.
Okay. The next item on the agenda, planning board start time. So we had a couple weeks ago, we did a 6:30 start, and I was wondering if the board was in agreement to change our standard start time to 6:30. Does that work out better or worse for people?
I think it could work well, especially if we can front load the minutes and the planner's report. I mean, I think it's okay to leave public hearings for 7 o'clock and onward. But a half an hour earlier rather than a half an hour at the very end, going from 10:30 to 11 makes a big difference for me personally. So ideally, yeah, we could 30 minutes at the front end to do the minutes, the planner's report,
All the administrative stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I'd
That'd be-
support that as well. Even some of the discussions, I feel the same, Jesse. I'm not even sure sometimes the next day if I've spoken between 10:30 and 11. I'm not sure what I've said.
100%
They-
agree. And like this town council discussion, and we're making great time tonight. This is a banner night. It's only 8 o'clock and we're already on agenda item number 10. This is definitely an anomaly, Lisa. I hate to break it to you, but
I was gonna say, I was gonna thank you all for doing this for
No,
the
no,
first
no, no.
night, I appreciated it.
normally we're at like 10 o'clock and we're on town council support the planning board, etc. So we could have, like, if this was a typical meeting, we could have knocked off the appointment discussion, the town council discussion easily, and maybe even the zoning map update in 30 minutes. So I think it would really help.
Okay, good. Lisa?
I'm used to starting at 6:30, so it works for me.
All
Good.
right.
Yay.
And I spoke to Colleen and Karina to make sure that it would work for them too, and you guys were on board with that. Correct, Colleen?
Yes.
Okay, 6:30 it is. Planners report.
Ah. Are you gonna do it? Oh, Colleen, are you gonna do it?
I think well, I don't have all of her notes, but the project updates, obviously with 206 Turnpike, I think you'll finish that up at the next meeting. And 4042, I think that's being handled appropriately. And those are really the only projects.
Well, it was the open space inspections, which I
Right,
guess Lucas is doing them and they're weeding through our new contract. And as soon as they get through that, I guess it used to be a 2-page thing and now it's a 10-page complicated thing. So as soon as they get through that, that contract will be signed and they'll get started on the inspections. Job
I didn't-
description. I'm sorry, Jesse.
Maybe I'm skipping ahead. Maybe I was just going to ask, I didn't see the meeting minutes in the Dropbox
Yeah,
for
they're
May
not
2nd
there.
or May 8th.
no, I had them there just in case we did get them, but
Okay,
they're not in
understood.
there.
We're not going to vote on minutes tonight. Got it.
No.
Thank you.
Job description updates, I don't know what that is. I know performance evaluations are coming up. If you have any color to add, Colleen, feel free.
Not on that one, no.
Special town meeting, October 17th, although word on the street is we may not have one because there isn't much going into this special. Is that correct?
Yes, nothing pressing is what I was told.
Okay,
Can I ask a question on that?
sure.
I thought that the select board wanted to move towards having 2 town meetings. To be able to focus the spring meeting on really the budget and administrative kind of things, and then other bigger topics for the fall. Did we vote on, I can't even remember, did we vote on that, or is it, I'm just not sure why we thought there was gonna be a fall meeting. Is there anything to go in there? Or was that the citizens petition that would have gone in there?
Mimi, can I jump
Sure,
in
go
on
ahead,
this one?
Lisa.
So, yeah, there
I
was.
don't know why I don't remember this, but I'm not sure what we're doing, I guess, with that.
Yeah, so there was talk, we had discussed it quite extensively about having a fall and just doing citizens petition, non-zoning articles in the fall and just doing budgetary stuff in the spring. And we've kind of gone round and round about it. I know when the date was set for the fall, I don't think specifically there was anything concrete. I think they were setting it in case there was something that came up they needed. I think there was talk of MBTA, if I'm not mistaken, Mimi. There was hope that maybe we could have something for a fall town meeting, but I mean, I think now. that's
No
probably-
hope for me.
Yeah, I think that's probably unrealistic at this point. So I know that they did set a date, Debbie, but I don't know with MBTA out of the mix, whether there's anything to really get people to come out for a
Okay.
fall. And Colin, you may know more from talking to Mark about that, but I'll just say again, we went round and round about doing the two, and some board members felt they didn't want to commit to a
Hmm.
fall if there was nothing, just like there may not be. So I hope that was some level of helpful.
Okay, no, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I heard. There's nothing to
Right.
justify the expense of having a meeting.
Right. Okay.
So, placeholders, downtown district, I don't know what that is. Oh, the sign
The sign.
bylaw.
Yes, so we're gonna go through the entire code just to make sure that everything references the proper district. And we found that
Okay.
out with mines.
Mimi,
Right.
can I ask, also, does that encompass, I know Lori Lavoli had some changes. Colleen, were signs the only thing? Or were there other things, do you know? That, I know there was, again, like I said, there were some things Lori wanted to have fixed or changed.
In the down, well, we're just, I guess what we're doing is a review of
Okay.
the bylaws to make sure that where it references business village is now also referencing downtown district, because they'll be treated the same. So parking calculations for those. We started with the signs and then realized there was a lot more to look at. So that's why we put it off until now, or I guess spring.
Okay,
think
so I
this-
guess, sorry, Mimi, go ahead.
I think the sign concern did come from Lori.
It did, okay. I just want to make sure the concerns that she had were gonna be addressed. That's all. And again, I didn't know if she had shared them with anybody before she left. I don't know, but I think Julianne would probably know.
I think Mimi's right now, reminding me that she had a sign going up and didn't know what to do with it because it was in the downtown district. So we said, oh, we'll fix it. But then we found it was missing everywhere. So we'll fix everything.
Thank you.
And Worcester Registry of Deeds signature form, I don't know what that is.
That is just, I have everybody's signature but Lisa's. And we
Oh,
will get
okay.
her when she gets back from Florida.
Okay,
And then we'll send it into the registry. That happens every year after the elections.
all right. There are no minutes to approve. Next meeting, June 12th and June 27th, that
27th.
unless barring any reason from Karina that can't happen.
Yeah, I have
And that
nothing.
That would be a Zoom because the select board are meeting.
So.
Anything else from anybody?
I will just thank you all again for taking it easy on me, and 8:15 is something I'm not used to in a meeting, so thank you.
Lisa, you're a good influence on us. We've never, this is the fastest meeting maybe ever.
Let's keep it up.
Make
I-
a motion to adjourn.
Second,
There you go.
sorry, Deb.
No, good.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes.
Stein, yes.
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Good night,
Thanks. Good night,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you.
night.
Bye-bye.